Welcome to Spenny and the Nets, episode 257. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been on here. So, for those who are welcoming me back, thank you very much. For those who are listening for the first time, I'm going to give you a little background into my life. I always tell you guys the truth on here. So, the reason I haven't recorded in 3 weeks, there's a few reasons. Now, for those who know, I record the show on Monday nights. 2 Mondays ago, I had an endoscopy. So my gastroenterologist can see how my eosinophilic esophagitis was and recommend how much medication I should and shouldn't take. For those who aren't medical experts, if I don't take care of EOE now, I'm going to have scarring of the esophagus in the future, and it's going to make it hard to swallow. Don't worry, guys. Results came back. They're pretty good. They're not bad. I don't have to change my medication. I'm on two different things, but it doesn't affect my day to day. So, okay, long story short, I did not record 2 Mondays ago because I had that procedure. They put me under anesthesia and I was pretty much out for the day. Then last Monday, I started a new job. I know, round of applause for me. Was unemployed for a few months, but landed back on my feet with a really great company, great culture. And yeah, so I did not want to record that day because it was my first work day and I kind of wanted to focus on work. And that is about it. But I'm back now. Spenny in the Nets, we are back now. And I'm by myself tonight. I asked a few people, they were busy, but that's okay because I have a lot to react to when it comes to this Brooklyn Nets basketball team. A lot has happened since we last recorded right before draft day. So let's break it down. Draft day. Sixth pick overall. Who are the Nets going to take? At the number 6 pick in the first round, the Nets select Michael Brown Jr., the point guard out of Louisville, and the point guard of the future for the Brooklyn Nets. I have a reaction video on the Spenny and the Nets Twitter page. You can check it out. I was pretty ecstatic with this pick. I think I would have been fine with Acuff Jr. I obviously offensively a lot to like about Acuff Jr. as well. He went with the very next pick to Sacramento at 7. But there's something special that you could just tell in interviews with Michael Brown Jr. He interviewed with the Nets 3 times. I think at that point, you kind of had an idea that they were going to take him there. And there's a lot to like about this kid. He's a little bit taller than Acuff, 6'5" with shoes on, lethal from downtown, really nice jump shot. Did not show it freshman year. He was only 34% from the field, but numbers can be misleading. This guy is a silky, pure shooter, and he's got this ridiculous athleticism to him where if he's right, and we're going to get into summer league in a bit, he is a very good athlete. He can take it to the rim. He can get by you with his speed and quickness. He's elusive. He's crafty. He's creative. This is the guy that I wanted at number 6. He has superstar potential written all over him. He does. Number 28, the Nets trade back into the first round. I believe this was part of the Julius Randle trade, maybe. And they get Joshua Jefferson, the forward out of Iowa State. Swiss Army knife forward, can do a little bit of everything. High IQ player. Not a bad get towards the end of the first round. Didn't know a lot about him, had to do my research. And then at number 43 in the second round, the Nets select Tyler Bilodeau, the forward out of UCLA, 3-point specialist, and a stretch 4. So 3 picks, 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, highlighted by Michael Brown Jr. This comes, was this? We're gonna get to the Nets additions via free agency and the trade market. I think this might have been right before it or after it. I don't know. I'm in a daze, but I was happy with this draft. I was. I think that you got the best player and the guy that you wanted at 6. You found 2 guys who can help towards the end of this rotation. Remember, the Nets are not that strong at forward. After Michael Porter Jr. and Julius Randle, there are a lot of guys that still need to prove themselves, whether it's Noah Clowney, whether it's Danny Wolf. I'm I'm kind of blanking on the rest of this Nets roster right now in terms of forward, but forward is not necessarily if you consider Drake Powell a small forward. We're gonna get to his summer league stuff in a bit, but yeah, you take a shot at two forwards. You already have a million guards, and I didn't hate this draft by Sean Marks. I thought he did a decent job. I'd probably give him an A minus, top of my head. You got to give him an A type of grade because of Michael Brown Jr. The other two guys don't know much about. A minus. Maybe you could have traded a little bit earlier into the first round with that number 28 pick. You have all these first round picks. Maybe there was a guy in the top 20 you could have taken, but I digress. Sean Marks gets an A minus from me. And also, since that day, since I recorded 3 weeks ago, we've had the Summer League. So the Nets have played, I believe, one, two, three, 4 games. And we're not going to talk about the games specifically. We are going to talk about the growth of Jaeger Joman physically and also on the basketball court. So Joman out of BYU last year, number 8th overall, showed a good amount of flashes his rookie season. I mean, the one thing that we all came away with after year one for Jaeger was he's a legitimate 3-point sniper. Very good shooter. But the knock on him was a little bit skinny, a little bit frail, doesn't necessarily take it to the paint as much as he could, not super aggressive going to the rim, a little bit of a just not strong, muscular guy. And that showed last year. He got bodied, he got bullied, he did not really take it to the rack too much. That has changed. We have seen the growth of Jaeger Joman. First of all, he looks a lot more muscular than last season. He looks like he filled out. He looks like he's been hitting the weight room. So that was great to see. And he's starting to take it to the rim. Every chance he got to drive, he was driving. When he had the chance to pull back and hit the three in summer league, he's been doing that too. So these stat lines are awesome to read. So against the Hawks, Jaeger Joman did not play in this game. Against the Kings, 23 points, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 8 from three, 3 of 4 from the line, 7 rebounds. Think about that. He scored 23 points and he only hit 2 3-pointers. Why? Because he hit 3 at the free throw line and all the other buckets were twos. They were hard fought buckets. Against the Warriors, Jaeger Joman, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3-point land. Again, in this game, Joman went 2 of 7 from 3, and he finished with 23 points again. Think about that. He's shooting above 50%. He's only getting 6 from beyond the arc, and he's ending up with a 23-point game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists against Golden State. And then finally, against the New York Knicks, your world champions of 2025-2026, Jaeger goes for 20 points on 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. He is by far the best player on the court during these summer league games. Nets will most likely shut him down very, very soon, but he looks primed for a breakout season in year 2. Very impressed with what I've seen from Jaeger Joman. Now let's get to the rookies. Michael Brown Jr. against the Knicks, 20 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3-point land, and 3 of 3 from the line. 3 assists, 1 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. You saw the vision in that game against the Knicks. Okay? That second half, 16 of his 20 points were scored, and he was doing whatever he wanted once he had the ball in his hands. He was mic'd up. He literally said, I'm on one now. That's how hot he was. Step back threes, driving to the lane. He had a steal and a dunk at one point. Again, in that game, when Jaeger was not on the court, Michael Brown Jr. looked like the best player on the court. So you saw the vision that Sean Marks and this front office had about how good this young kid can be. Joshua Jefferson played against I have all these games messed up. So let's see. Where did Joshua Jefferson play? Joshua Jefferson played against the Hawks? Yeah. Played against the Hawks, 26 minutes, 9 points, 1 of 8 from the field, 2 steals. I did see a highlight. He took it coast to coast. He'll figure it out. I'm not worried about him. he couldn't play until the Julius Randle trade was finalized, so has not seen the court too much in summer league, but not worried about Joshua Jefferson. He'll get his chance. And then Tyler Bilodeau. Tyler Bilodeau's had some nice games against the Kings. Bilodeau went for, let's see, 9 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 6 rebounds. Against the Warriors, he went for 18 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 6 of 9 from three-point land. So this is a kid that can stretch the floor out. Pretty one-dimensional player. I don't think he's gonna wow you offensively, but he's the kind of guy, right place, right time, hit a few open threes, grab some rebounds. A less athletic Noah Clowney, in my opinion, based on what Noah Clowney did last year, which was just sit outside the arc and shoot threes. And that's really it in terms of your rookies in summer league so far. We've seen a good amount of the sophomores. Danny Wolf had a really nice game. Who was it against the was it the Hawks? Yeah, Danny Wolf against the Hawks, 20 points, 9 of 16 from the field, 5 rebounds. I'm on this, but I'm a Danny Wolf fan. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I love a big man like him that can pass the ball, that has a creativity. He has the mindset of a point guard at his height. His big thing is he's got to be able to hit open shots. Missed a lot of open shots last season, both beyond the arc and a few bunnies. He was not the most efficient player last year. So to stay on the court as a big man, that efficiency's got to get up. So nice to see that stat line, 9 of 16 from the field. Danny Wolf, that was his big game. Other than that, he hasn't done much. Uh, Drake Powell having a tough go of it in a very, very, very big shooting slump right now. Powell against the Hawks was 0 of 4. Powell against the Knicks was 0 of 7 from the field. Powell against the Kings 0 of 9. He is in a really tough shooting slump. And I will say that it happens, and I'm not necessarily super worried about him. This is about as tough as it's going to get, and it's better that it's happening here than in the NBA. Drake Powell showed us a lot of flashes early on last season that he belongs in the NBA. Athletically, one of the better dudes on the team. It's him and Michael Brown Jr. and Josh Minott. I think those are the three best athletes on the team. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone more athletic than those three guys. He was hitting the three a little bit last season. It's not like he was this cold. I just think, it's a big year for him. Like he was 1 out of 5 guys. Traore's your backup point guard. Jaeger's obviously going to start, and then those three guys, Saraf, Danny Wolf, and Drake Powell, are fighting for their lives right now. So you understand the pressure is there for those three guys, and Powell's just going through it right now. But he said the right things in his presser. I tweeted about what he said. I thought that he was holding himself accountable, which you love to see. And he's not a bad player. He's not. I think he's going to figure it out. Now, this team is very guard heavy, and he's an undersized small forward. So I don't know. He's going to have to find minutes. Obviously, you add Keon Ellis. That's another guy in the mix that's going to get a ton of time. When Powell gets his chance, he's going to have to take advantage of it, because right now, him and Saraf, to me, in terms of the Nets' future, those two guys are on the outside looking in. And then finally, we get to Ben Saraf. Ben Saraf has not been great in summer league. You would have expected to see a little bit more of a leap from him. This is a guy who, if you guys remember, he started the first few games of the season last year for the Brooklyn Nets. He started, and Jaeger Joman was on the bench. And he was, towards the end of the last season, Saraf figured it out a little bit, but we're talking about, playing against teams that were trying to lose, having good games against teams like the Bucks, who wanted a high pick. So yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more out of Ben Saraf. He still can't really shoot the ball. His shot has not looked like it's gotten better from last season. Obviously the potential is there, because he's a 6'9" point guard. He can take it to the rack. He has great body control. He has one of the better deceleration moves that I've seen in the league. There aren't a lot of guys that can just take one step, stop on it for 3 seconds, then take the other step like Ben Suraf can. But he's really got to round out the rest of his game. He's got to get better at handling the basketball. He's got to get better at scoring. And if Nolan Traore is going to be the backup point guard, that makes Suraf the third stringer. He's going to have to do a lot to try to stay on this team and in the eyes of the Nets front office, be a part of this future. So him and Powell are on notice, in my opinion. I think Danny Wolf has kind of shown enough between last season and this summer league where I think Wolf has to be safe for now. But those are and then finally, I got to show love to Chaney Johnson. Chaney Johnson against the Atlanta Hawks, 20 points on 9 of 13 from the field, 2 of 4 from three, 10 rebounds, 5 steals for Chaney Johnson. You want to talk about fighting for your life? This guy lived in the G League last year, gets some time at the end of the year, and he's a worker. Like he's a hard worker. Obviously, the Knicks trade away Nick Claxton. They don't draft a center in this draft. They drafted 2 forwards, essentially. So there is a window for Chaney Johnson to get some minutes this season. There is. And with performances like that, where he's dunking everything in sight, who wouldn't want him as a backup center, Day'Ron Sharpe's getting his chance. Why can't Chaney Johnson have his? Love his name, by the way. Chaney Johnson. What a fucking cool name. I'm sorry, but I'm sure there's some significance to how he was named. Everyone has a story, but it's just a badass name, Chaney Johnson. Come on. All right. I kind of buried the leads a little bit out the draft. Michael Brown Jr. was the lead, but the second lead I buried a bit, and that is a quick welcome to Brooklyn to 2 new Nets. We're going to start with Julius Randle. Julius Randle, formerly of the Lakers, formerly of the Pelicans, formerly of the Knicks, formerly of the Timberwolves, has now found his way to the Brooklyn Nets. He was acquired in a 3-team trade with Minnesota and Chicago. And to be honest with you, this was a good move by the Nets. I think I give it like a B. Right? Because as good as Julius Randle is, there were some other guys that got traded that were a little better than him. A Jaylen Brown, a Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I don't think that the Nets were in a position to trade for those guys, and I don't think that the Nets wanted to trade for those guys. I think the Nets wanted to trade for a guy in Julius Randle who is a culture changer. Doesn't it make him the best player on the court? Doesn't make him one of the best players in the league. But he went to the Knicks a few years ago, and he changed that culture from a joke to a competitive basketball team. The Nets have not been a competitive basketball team since they traded away Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That was the last time they were competitive. They made the playoffs with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, but that was on the backs of KD and Kyrie's first half of the season. So I don't really count that. The Nets have not been a competitive basketball team since about 2021. 2021, 22, around that time. So you bring Julius Randle to change the culture of your organization. You pair him with a guy in Michael Porter Jr. who's coming off a career year, and you get these young guys in like Jaeger Joman and Michael Brown Jr., and you get those guys playing together. You give Day'Ron Sharpe, who is one of the hungriest guys on this team, you give him a chance. He's been sitting behind Claxton since he got in the league. And real Nets fans know he's outplayed Claxton the last 2 seasons. He has been the better center. So he gets an opportunity. I like the trade. I think it's a good trade. I think it makes sense. You're not a joke anymore in the East. You have to win this year if you're Sean Marks. You have to try to make the play-in. You have to show Nets fans something to believe. And that's why you made this trade. And that's also why why you acquired and via free agency, Keon Ellis. Recently of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Before that, he played for the Sacramento Kings. Keon Ellis reunites with former assistant Kings coach Jordi Fernandez. And this is another guy, to me, it shouts culture. Keon Ellis is one of the most competitive backup guards in the league. Great on-ball defender. Can give you a few buckets off the bench. Respected player. Was respected in Sacramento. was respected in Cleveland, although the fit wasn't great in Cleveland. The minutes weren't there. Schroeder kind of ate into his time, I think. And then you had, Max Strus and Sam Merrill, and I just there wasn't, Mitchell and Harden. There just wasn't enough room for Keon Ellis in Cleveland. But he's going to play on this Nets team. He's probably going to be the first or second guy off the bench. And he is a guy that Drake Powell is going to have to compete with for minutes. And right now, I give the nod to Keon Ellis over Drake Powell. But I'm excited. These are two big additions. They don't seem it on paper. They're not the sexiest names in the world. But if I had to give you guys my 2026 outlook of this Nets team, I think they're going to be in a lot more games than people expect them to be. I can see them fighting for a play-in seed, maybe as high as a 7 or 8 seed. You got to remember in the East, it's not going to be easy. Okay? Let's think about it. In the East, you have Halliburton coming back for Indiana. You have the Wizards, who were the last place team in the league last year, going to put out a lineup of AJ DeBonta, Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Trey Johnson, and Alex Sarr. That's a scary lineup. Philadelphia got Jaylen Brown. Chicago drafted Caleb Wilson, who is filthy. 35 points in his summer league debut. The teams that I think are going to. Oh, and by the way, Miami got Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Miami was a 10 seed last year without Giannis. The teams that are going to suck in the East next year are going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, who just signed Gary Trent to a deal. And that is the only guaranteed team that's going to suck in the East. Outside of that, you can make an argument for every single one of these teams being competitive. So yeah, it's going to be a tough battle, but I think the Nets can beat teams like the Bulls. I think Nets can beat teams like the Hornets, the Magic, the Hawks. On any given night, they'll get a surprise win against one of those top 4 teams, from last season, the Pistons, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavaliers. They'll get a few surprise wins. They'll beat some teams in the West. There's no way. And by the way, this is a chance for Jordy Fernandez, who I do think is a good coach. And he showed us glimpses of that when he had, Dennis Schroeder on the squad and they were winning a few games at the beginning of the season prior to last. This is his chance to really show us, hey guys, not only am I going to compete in the East, I'm going to beat the bottom half of the East. We're going to get to the playoffs, and I'm going to show you guys, A, we're building something in Brooklyn, and B, I'm the right guy to conduct the ship. Conduct the ship? Who's the captain? I guess the right guy to captain the ship, right? I got Pirates of the Caribbean in my head. What a movie. Jack Sparrow. Anyway, yeah, this is a prove it year for Jordy Fernandez for me. Okay? You don't have you don't own your first round picks next year. You don't have a pick. You have to be competitive. Make it happen. That's my 2026 outlook. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I recently accepted a role as a member of the Fanatics Advisory Network as a Brooklyn Nets fan. Now, what is being a Fanatics Advisory Network member mean? It means that I'm going to get to test out some really cool Nets gear for Fanatics and let them know if I think it's freshy or not. I do also get to attend Fanatics Fest, which will be taking place this Thursday through Sunday. I will definitely be there Saturday from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday or Wednesday and you plan on going, I will be there on Saturday until 1 p.m. I may make an appearance on Thursday night, maybe, possibly. And then Sunday is I'm doubtful for Sunday, but you never know. Maybe I'll get the itch and want to go. If it's a great time, I've never been to Fanatics Fest. So if it's a cool time, I'll definitely want to dedicate more time to going next year. I would definitely go on Sunday, but I am doing some sandwich content for my Instagram profile, Spenny Sandwiches. Check it out. I review sandwiches across the tri-state area. And there's a deli that wants me to review their sandwiches. So they said, hey, pull up on Sunday. We'll give you some free sandwiches. I said, sure, why not? So I'm sorry, Fanatics Fest, but free sandwiches, it overrules you guys any day of the week. I can meet Tom Brady or LeBron James any day of the week. I can't get a free sandwich all the time. All right. Was there anything else I wanted to mention on this show? I don't think there is, but thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Spenny and the Nets. This was episode 257. Now that we have a routine, now that I've gone a week or two at my new job, we're really going to start to try to put out an episode once a week, every Monday for you guys because I love doing it. If you're listening, you're either a Brooklyn Nets fan, you love me, or you're just a hater and you want to hear me fail, and it's not going to happen on this episode or any episodes in the future. But keep listening because if you're a hater and you really want me to fuck up on here, I don't know. Maybe. You never know. Just keep listening. All right, that does it. Spenny in the Nets. Bye bye.